Hello there, viewer. Zolo from DZ Hunters here, and I can proudly say that I am now in the midst of Pandaria Beta. That's right, I'm now officially in the beta. Blizzard must have taken one look at that video that I uploaded yesterday and thought, man, these are some cool cats, we gotta send them a beta. Either that or they just sent us a beta, that way we wouldn't make any more Abomination videos like that ever again. Okay, so granted, the beta hasn't even been out yet for over a month, and obviously nothing in this beta is final, because, let's face it, it's so brand new. But the truth is, I just want to show you guys and gals what has changed. There's quite a few things that have changed. Unfortunately, I can't seem to figure out how to make, like your hunter pet talents. I can only find my regular talents, I can't seem to find my hunter pet talents. And that leaves me to think that Blizzard is actually working on the all pets equal all spec thing, which is actually really awesome, so thank you. But as you can see, beta is beta, so we have these giant glitch pets. I mean, I'm not complaining one bit. I wish they were this big, but then again, your raid would get all pissed off and they'd be angry at you, and they just wouldn't like you one bit if you brought, giant spirit beasts to the raid. So I just want to show you a few things that are actually new to the game. So there's this new ability called Link's Rush? Yep, Link's Rush. So when you reach level 75, you have the option between one of three talents. Call Beast, which I already showed you guys, a Murder of Crows, and Link's Rush. So basically Link's Rush is the equivalent of a rogue's ability where he kind of, vanishes and teleports behind all his enemies and just gets them all at one time. It's really, really good. So but instead of doing it for your hunter, it's for your pet. And it's a bit slower. But basically, I can only assume this would be a lot better if you're a Beast Mastery spec, because let's face it, as a Beast Mastery hunter, your pet does more damage. I don't see this, being too good if, let's say, you are a marksman hunter or a survival hunter. But that's just that. Then there's also the other ability, Murder of Crows, but I will go over that in a second. As you can see, we're actually able to have Readiness and True Shot Aura on while we have the beast within, and we are in fact Beast Mastery spec. Apparently, if you're a hunter, you automatically have True Shot Aura. You do not need to be in Marksman spec, and of course you can spec into Readiness, meaning that we can have Bestial Wrath, and then back to back, Bestial Wrath again. Yeah, I can see the raid getting really pissed off at you just for bringing that giant red cat into the raid. I mean, the healer wouldn't be able to target the tank, and it's terrible. Okay. There's also another ability called Binding Shot. Now, this is rather difficult because you have to actually, find a little place and target it, and boop, there we go, like that. But basically, let's say if this target was moving, if they move like 5 yards away from it, which really isn't that far at all, they would be stunned for 5 seconds. And we also have our Intimidation ability as well. So that's really nice. That's like 7 seconds altogether. Obviously it wouldn't be 7 seconds because each stun has a slower duration. But it's really cool to have 2 stuns in one spec. That's really awesome. As you can see, also Multi-Shot has a new little icon here. And when you activate your traps, you can actually, hold on a second. As I was saying, when you activate your traps, you can select them all through. There we go. There. See? Boop. They're all there. It's kind of neat, actually. Plus, when you use Trap Launcher, it automatically stays on your little buff thing the entire time. So let's say we want to launch one trap, we want to launch the other trap, and we want to launch the other trap. And we can just keep launching them like that, and it costs no focus, which is really nice. However, notice how there is no Immolation Trap anymore. They specifically got rid of Immolation and replaced it with Explosive Trap. Now, obviously I can't show you guys the Glaive Toss and the Power Shot and the Barrage just yet because I'm not level 90. I'm only level 85, as you already know. But I wanted to show you guys the Link's Rush ability, which is, I think it's kind of neat. It's pretty cool if you're, Beast Mastery spec. But that being said, it's time to check out the Marksman spec. Now, of course, this is very, very early on in beta, and I really don't think that, everything is final. But truthfully, I think Marksman is going to be the #1 PvP spec. Granted, it kind of is right now. That and, Beast Mastery is kind of just for fun and giggles. For a Zerg spec, that is. But Marksman is going to be the solid PvP spec, because as you can clearly see, for Marksman spec, you don't actually have Concussive Shot anymore. Actually, for all the specs, you do not have Concussive Shot. Your concussive shot is gone. And basically the only thing you have now is your ice trap, because let's face it, you don't have wind clip anymore because hunters don't actually use their melee weapon. But in exchange, we can be right up in their face and just fire arrows. That's really, really nice. However, that being said, it's going to make hunters a little bit more tricky for PvP because we're going to have to focus more for, let's say, do we want a pet that can actually slow targets down, like a crocolisk? I love how big it is. Okay, so obviously the crocolisk still has its ankle crack ability, and it's really nice for marksman spec too, just because for marksman you can actually have chimera shot, which actually heals you for 5%. But if you use the glyphing, it can actually heal you for an additional 5%, and that's crazy. Not only that, but if you spec into exhilaration, whenever you use disengage, you're instantly healed for 15%. And obviously you can use readiness just in case if you're like super low on health and you want to use like boom, double disengage to get like 30% health. And if you even have the if you actually have the focus, you can have double chimera shot. So that's overall that's 40% of your health back in about, let's say, 2 seconds. It's great. But I'm not going to show exhilaration. I'm going to show narrow escape, because that's actually pretty cool too. I'm going to keep binding shot, aspect of the Iron Hawk, and readiness, and murderous crows. Okay, here we go. And I'm in combat, of course. And then we just and there we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. So let's find the disengage, and then we auto attack in this, and then we use disengage. Woo! Look at that, see? It had a little snare effect. Now obviously the snare effect didn't affect the raid target, but what disengage does when you use narrow escape, when you disengage, you also activate a web trap which encases all targets within 8 yards in a sticky web, preventing movements for 3 seconds. So now you also have a rooting effect. So you can choose between either the 15% heal or the 3-second rooting effect. So that's kind of nice, I gotta say. That's pretty cool. Now let's check out the ability, the crow ability, the murder of crows or whatever. Here we go. However, the only downfall to this is that it costs 60 focus. That's a lot of focus, really. It lasts for 30 seconds, which is kind of cool, but holy crap, 60 focus. That's a lot of focus. I mean, think about it. Chimera shot and the crow ability back to back. That would just... Actually, no, you can't do that because you don't have enough focus if you're marksman spec. The only way how you pull that off is if you're beast mastery spec. And if you're beast mastery spec, you'd have to use kill command. So that's a lot of focus drain right away. And only for this amount of damage, I don't see that little bit of damage being all that useful. I mean, I don't see a murder of crows being a useful ability. And Call B sort of has a low damage output as of right now, and maybe these two abilities will be fixed for a higher damage output. But as of right now, I would say go for Link's Rush. That's your primary go-to ability for whatever spec, at least for right now in the beta, because obviously this is really early. Everything will probably change. And that's about going to do it for this video. Like I said though, nothing is set in stone, so by all means, don't take this video too seriously. I just want to show you guys and gals what's changed and what's to come. I actually really look forward to that all pets equal all spec, so hopefully that'll be in the future, and hopefully that'll turn out great. Otherwise, this is Zolo wishing you all happy hunting, and comment below letting me know what exactly would you like for me to film next in the Miss of Pandaria beta. Bye bye guys, thanks for watching.